of Youth and Sport to come forward to testify.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Pastor. Mr. Lee, Teresa, Biyin, and everybody here. Thank you so much for allowing me to honor Kee Hiong with some sharing about her. I think Lee Kee Hiong is really the model of what an elected representative should look like. She genuinely cares, she cared for everybody, every race in Kuala Kubu Baru. When I launched her service centre in Kuala Kubu Baru, she was full of ideas as to how she would serve Kuala Kubu Baru. In the State Assembly, she would always be present, she would not be absent, and she would be there speaking about every issue. When I say she's cared about every aspect, she really thought through the debate that she wanted to bring in the House. She would talk about tourism, she would talk about environment, she would talk about the young people, the old people, the temples, the mosques, every issue. She would go to every corner in Kuala Kubu Baru. So much so that I remember one time she even caught leptospirosis, kencing tikus, in the course of her duty. She went to the river and got herself, this sickness. She really cared for the Orang Asli as well. I went there with her for an event. I was just looking through our WhatsApp chat group just now on the way here. When I was made Minister of Youth and Sports, Kee Hiong wanted to learn about sports. And so she asked me a lot of questions about sports. Actually, we have a lot of different sports in Malaysia. We have 103 types. But I remember she would share articles and she asked me, motorbike racing and car racing is a sport, meh? Then I said, yes, Kee Hiong. She said, how can? Like that, lumba kuda also can, tamacai also can, she said. And then before Silambam, it's a sport that is very famous among the Indians. Before Silambam was recognized as a sport in Sukma, Malaysia, in the chat, Kee Hiong spoke about Silambam, and she said, you must come to Kuala Kubu Baru and visit Silambam Association. She spoke about lion dance to me also. So you can see she really, when she cared about an issue, she really explored every single thing about that issue. Guan Ning is not here, but I've sent Guan Ning some of the chat that she spoke about Guan Ning. She really, really honored Guan Ning and Lim Kit Siang. I remember in 2008 when I was first elected as an assemblyman, there were a few of us new assemblymen at that time. Edward Lee, the late Edward Lee, Dr. Chia Wing Yin, and Charles Santiago. Four of us had some conversation and we had some ideas about what councillors should look like. And I remember they had some unhappiness about the quota system and all. And they were told, we were all told, if you're not happy, you must come and see this lady called Lee Kee Hiong. And I went to SUK, and that was my first time meeting Lee Kee Hiong. I was expecting a very powerful lady, very big, tall, to walk out. But out came this little lady. And they say she is very, very powerful. Kee Hiong has proven that really you can be small in size, but huge in ideas. And small in size, but huge in influence and wisdom. We connected over the years, even though she's a lot older than a lot of the young assembly person, but she was very, very open to new ideas. She's not afraid of trying out new culture. When Ramadan came, she was not afraid to respect the Muslims. She would share baju kurung with me. I know it's a bit hard to believe because she's very, very thin. But we would share baju kurung. She would always buy Kuala Kubu food for my family. Every time she came from KKB, she would buy especially when my first daughter was born, she would always buy the butter cake from the famous bakery in Kuala Kumbharu. She was a very generous person. In the party, it's normal to have AGM, and sometimes when you have AGM, you would encounter a lot of administrative problems. But Kee Hiong was the go-to person to solve a lot of these administrative problems. She was a problem solver. In the DAP today, we have really lost somebody who could glue the old and new generation of DAP together. She was really that bridge. She's the kind of friend who would praise you in public but whisper correction to you in private. She would never embarrass you. I have not experienced her scolding in public like the DAPSI leader, but I've experienced her scolding in private in WhatsApp message. Lastly, Mr. Lee, you must carry on living and live very, very well. She cared a lot about you, and she really drew a lot of her strength from you. Kuala Kumbharu is not like in Kuala Lumpur in the city area. So sometimes the work that you do in KKB may be very difficult to be photographed out to the world, to be highlighted out to the world. But because Mr. Lee and Kee Hiong were really a very powerful team together, they moved together, and I really believe who she became in that 3 terms as Assemblyman for KKB, a lot of it was because Mr. Lee was always there with her. So we really want to not just honor Kee Hiong's life today, Mr. Lee, but also honor you in how you serve her. You photographed her effort and you allowed the world to see what a wonderful Assemblyman she was. And so for that, thank you. Today, I am most pleased that Kee Hiong found Jesus and Kee Hiong found God in the later part of her life. Today, she's no longer in pain, and I really look forward to the day where we can see her again in the presence of God. Thank you so much.